Hey guys, it's the Magic of Yoga special episode. How cool is that, right? So, with the Samhain right around the corner, I decided to do just a very short podcast discussing the items that are going on my altar that can also go on your altar. It's very, very super simple. It's easy. It's perfect for beginners. And I just kind of wanted to share with you. I'm going to do my best to describe the layout of my altar that I have in front of me right now. But I am also going to upload a video onto my YouTube page. So if you want to go on over there and actually see what it looks like, see what the layout is like, you can do that too. But like I say in pretty much all of my episodes so far, it is up to you. You need to do what is right for you. You need to feel what is right for you. And so when you're putting your altar together, keep that in mind. Don't have to copy what everybody else is doing. You need to listen to the energy that is surrounding you and your place at time. All right. So let's get started, right? So the first item that I put down on my altar was obviously an altar cloth. Okay, very simple, but a lot of people forget to mention it. I actually chose mine at my local craft store, but you don't have to buy one. I just really, really liked it's got a galaxy theme to it, it's got a worldly theme to it. It's filled with beautiful colors, purples and dark blues and sparkles. So it just made sense to me. It just really kind of spoke out to me, and that's what I decided to use. But you can literally buy a cloth anywhere if that's what you decide to do. You can go online, you can go to your dollar store, you can go to your local grocery store, your craft store, anywhere. Chances are you will have something at home that you can use as well. I will say that if you do have something that has been passed down to you by, your great grandparents, great great grandparents, as ancestral as you can get, that is also a very powerful tool to use on your altar. But that is the first thing, your altar cloth. That's what you need. The next thing I added was 4 tea light candles. I have one at the top, one at the bottom, and then two at the sides, which in the middle, not in the corners. And they represent north, east, south, and west. And the four elements would be earth, air, fire, water. So we're going to start with our top tea light candle, which is north. It's our element of earth, and it is represented by minerals such as salts and rocks. So with that, right underneath my tea light, I added a small bowl of salt. Now, the more natural the salt is, the better, but table salt will work, and most household carries that. So I have a small bowl of salt there. The salt is purification, and it's going to help guide and cleanse spirits and souls as they kind of enter into our homes, as they enter into our sacred space. We don't want any energies clashing, and we want to safely guide all these spirits as they try to find their way to the person that they're looking for, to the person that they're looking to give their message to. The next thing that I added for my earth representation was a gabbro rock, which I found is super, super beautiful. And the gabbro rock is designed to balance spiritual energy as well as enhance the connection between our world and theirs. So it was a really, really great find. So that's my earth representation. That is what I have. Then when we go over to the right, we have east, our air element, and it's the direction that the sun rises. So naturally, it is represented by herbs and incense and items of visualization. So for me, I have added a sage and Palo Santo stick for cleansing and purification and, of course, protection. We're not trying to invite any negative energy. We don't want to disrupt what we have going on. We want to invite positive, whether it's a lost soul or an ancestor. We want positive energy only. I then have a feather, a bird feather, to represent the wind, to represent the air, bird taking flight. And then I have added a small mirror as my visualization tool. So it's used as a meditation guide, and we stare into this mirror. And you know how the saying goes, the eyes are the window to the person's soul. And that's basically what we're doing. So we're looking into this mirror, we are meditating, and we really want to just focus into the eyes, not around the eyes, not any little dots that we're seeing around our face or anything like that. We just want to look deep into the eyes and focus on getting deeper and deeper and deeper into our meditation, allowing us to access and open, I guess you can say, that door within the third eye that allows us to explore the spirit world and allows us to speak to our angels, our ancestors, or whomever is on the other side, waiting to give us guidance and messages. So, especially now as the veil between our two worlds is at its thinnest, it's really a strong and powerful time to do this. Uh, so that's my air representation there. When we move down to the bottom of the altar to my next tea light, which is south, the element is fire. The fire is the power, the action. It's represented by the tools such as candles, daggers, and writing equipment. So with your writing equipment, you want to be ready. You want to be ready to receive those messages, just the same as when you're journaling during a normal meditation, and then all of a sudden this creative surge hits you. That's what it's going to be like when you receive these messages later on. So you want to be ready, and you want to have that tool at your hand. So south writing materials. I then have two daggers. You can have one, but you don't have to have any. But they don't have to be real. They can be wooden. They can be as creative as you would like. But I have two daggers here, um, because that's what I wanted to put on there. The daggers are representing the rest energy, the energy that we are putting away now that the harvest season has came to an end, and we are resetting as we lay dormant and await the new harvest season, await the chance to be used again. I then have made my own candle, and I made it with both black and purple. The black is to absorb negative energy. It's going to banish any unwelcome visitors, protecting us and our home and our sacred space. So very much like the sage and Palo Santo, keeping the positivity, right? It's working in partnership with that. Then I incorporated the purple because it is a connection to the divine spirit. It's a connection to their world, and it enhances our sacred space. It enhances our magic, and just really, really draws in that beautiful goddess power that we may want to incorporate into our altar. So that is my fire elements and representations, tools. Then we have our last element, water. Our um, our west tea light candle. Okay, so our water element, which is obviously represented by liquids. So water in this case, which you could have maybe if you want to get creative, you could have it in a little cauldron. But for me, I just have it in a glass jar, and I actually have it sitting on top of another mirror because both the water and the mirror are representations of reflections looking within ourselves. Okay, when we are doing this, um, the the idea is that the water, the rain, the showers, the rivers, the streams, they are washing away this old energy and replacing it with new energy. And it's allowing us to process emotion, to feel and heal. So as we're receiving these messages, as we are protecting ourselves, as we are deepening into our consciousness, we need to be able to feel and understand and process and heal all of this. So that is where our last element comes into. So I just very simply, I just have a glass of water and it's sitting on a mirror to represent reflection, emotion, feeling, and healing. Okay, so that's a very basic altar. That's that. Then we want to go on to offerings. We want to offer something to the spirits as they pass through, maybe any gods or goddesses that you want to represent. With Samhain right around the corner, apples are a number one offering. You can plant them. Have you ever noticed if you cut an apple right down the middle, it makes a star, right? So very often people will plant an apple as an offering to the ground, as an offering to spirits, the underworld, as a wish for a fruitful next harvest. Some people will have them on their altar, like I do right now. And for that, it's to welcome the goddess energy. So we're welcoming goddess energy, we're welcoming lost souls, and we're offering them something to take with them to eat on their travels and as they return back to the underworld. So that's our apples. I also have a turnip on my altar. So, without getting too historical, once upon a time in England, turnips were your go to carve of the year. That's what they used to carve to keep away evil spirits from your household. In the USA, of course, it's pumpkins. And so, eventually, as time went on, pretty much all over the place, decided to adopt the pumpkin tradition, and now pumpkins get carved for evil spirits. We did that as a family. We did that. We have our pumpkins outside. But in sticking with tradition, I didn't feel the right vibe to have a pumpkin on my altar, so I stuck with a turnip. And the turnip signifies a fruitful harvest in the years to come. So even though we are going into a dormant period right now, the turnip kind of holds on to that hope and that appreciation that next harvest, that this will not be a long winter and that next harvest will be fruitful. That is the point to the turnip. So I have a turnip in the center of my altar with the apple. I then have decorated my altar with leaves that I've picked up outside. There's some beautiful reds, some beautiful oranges. I also have some crafting leaves that are, again, beautiful yellows and some beautiful oranges, just to kind of decorate my altar. I then have a skull in the background. I have the skull actually placed between my north and east tea light candles. The skulls, as I mentioned just now with the turnip, we are entering a dormant period. So with the bones and the skulls, it's all a representation of the end, but they also represent the past, the present, and the future. So it's just something to be mindful that now that the veil is at its thinnest, and at this time at Samhain, it does represent, it's the one time that we are past, present, and future all at one time together. So that's what the skull is there for. It's kind of a reminder to that. The next object that I have on the altar, which I think is my personal favorite, is the spider. So the spider is the ovate seer. You know, it's the divine, it's the foreteller, it's the prophesizer, it's the bringer of messages. Okay, so that's why we also want that pen and paper ready, because these little critters, they are going to be coming out of the woodwork. They act as conduits for the spirits, and they they are the messengers. You start seeing lots of spiders, you know something's going on. So I put one of these little guys on my altar. Personally, I'm not a spider fan, so I really hope that if anybody has a message to send me, it's not through a spider. But there you have it. That's what they do. That is what they're there for. And I have to admit, I think that's pretty great. So that's pretty much everything. You could get super personal and start adding maybe some pictures, um, maybe something that an old ancestor had, some jewelry. I created a set of mala beads recently, and all the stones that I had chose from the mala beads were based on connection to my psychic abilities and my third eye and opening that door to the spirit world. So I have added that to my altar. The stones for that were amethyst, which have a very high spiritual energy. They are part of the air element. Black obsidian, which is healing, and that is part of the fire and earth element. Then there was white howlite, which is inspiring and calming and comforting. Lapis lazuli, and that's like a beautiful blue stone. For that particular stone, it helps directs your energy. It taps into your psychic center. It helps with visualization and expression, um, connecting with the divine power. So that's a very powerful tool, stone to have on your altar. And then lastly, there is tiger's eye, which is also known as hawk's eye, and that's clarity, gaining perspective. Again, it's working with opening that third eye and entering into that spirit realm. So I personally felt that all these stones worked really well with Samhain coming up and having such a thin veil at the moment. I placed my spider and my mala beads together. They are in between the north and west tea lights. So I placed them in between the north and the west tea light. You could easily collect different little crystals and place them beside the elements that you felt necessary. You could sprinkle them across your altar if you wanted to. You don't have to stick with this element, so this item goes here. You don't have to be as organized as that. You really just want to feel the energy of each item that you're putting down and go with the flow. I mean, it is your altar. It's all about your creativity and your message that you are sending. So, yeah. So, that is it. That's all I have for you guys today. Like I said, very short, very quick. Not going to blabber on too much tonight. Be sure to go over to my YouTube channel and actually have a look at the altar that I set up. It's also on my Instagram at Earth Goddess Anna. It will be on my Facebook with Yoga with Earth Goddess Anna. And your love and support, as always, much appreciated. Namaste.